One of the most important skills that a card counter needs is the ability to accurately estimate how many decks of cards are left to be played by looking at the discard tray. In this video, we'll show you how someone can become very accurate with that by just using a few decks of cards and a Sharpie. Before we get into the drill though, welcome back to the channel. This is A1 Blackjack and I'm Steak Sauce. For this drill, you want to have 6 decks of the same types of cards. These are just bicycle playing cards, as well as a Sharpie or something that you can mark those cards up with. Right. Also, if you're like me, you may have some cards from the casino with holes through them, or they might have the edges clipped out. You do not want to use these as they will take up more room in the discard tray than fresh cards. Remember that in a casino, cards are refreshed every single day, if not multiple times a day. So we don't want to use cards that have been bent or really used, as that will be quite a bit of difference in the space it takes up in the discard tray compared to new, fresh cards. With that being said, I'm going to put these cards in order and then number them. You can see that I'm doing this here for all 6 decks now on the screen, and I'm writing down a few things on these cards. If I take a look at one of these, first I'm numbering in one corner what number this is on the card. For example, the very first card would be 1, and this would go all the way through 312. That's the 52nd card of the 6th deck, as there are 312 cards in 6 decks. The second number I'm going to put it on there is the deck that this is in and that card in the deck. For example, this is the 5th deck and the 31st card. All right. Now that all our cards are numbered, we can put them in order back in the discard tray and start to train our eye. The first thing I want to do is just put one deck in the tray and look at it from multiple places around the table so I can train my eye to know exactly what one deck looks like. By the way, this is just a couple of scrap pieces of wood and cardboard that I had laying around that works for my discard tray. This is not an official one. I didn't go out and buy this. This is just something I made up. Right, we just need 2 sides at a 90-degree angle that can hold the cards, and that's really all we're looking for that. Now that I've kind of trained my eye on what one deck looks like, I'm going to do the same thing for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 decks until you think you are ready to start testing for real. Now before we begin looking at the actual card and see what number it is, you will want to make this chart, or you can look at the one that I made on the screen. That's maybe a little bit better. I'll also put that in the description below. This is a chart that corresponds with the number of cards that have been played versus the number of cards that are left. The most important thing that we need as a card counter is to know how many cards in the discard tray there are and how many decks are left. That is what we need to divide our running count by in order to create an accurate true count. So let's try a couple of times and see how well we do. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is take out a good chunk of cards here and just set them off to the side. All right, and looking at this, I'm going to say that there are about 2.5 decks there, which means that there should be about 3.5 decks remaining. And if I look at my chart here, let's look at the top card. It's 111. All right, so if I go to my chart over here, 111, that actually falls with 2 decks that are there, and there's 4 left to be played. So I was guessing just a little bit high on that, and therefore my decks left would be a little bit low. There should be 4 decks remaining. All right, I'm going to put them back now. Let's try it again. This time I'm going to take off just a few off the top here. Well, let's go right about here. And looking at this again with the trained eye that I think I should have by now, I would say that there are about 4.5 decks there, which means there's 1.5 decks to be played. So if I look at the top card, it is number 223. And according to my charts, yeah, that's 4.5 decks with 1.5 left. Perfect. So that falls within that range. And so I would be accurate when I went to make that certain bet. All right. Let's do it maybe one more time. And hopefully you can get the idea of how this works at home. This time take a big chunk off. Oh, let's go right about here. Okay. So with that many left, I'd say this is about 1.5 decks that have been played. So that means that there's about 4.5 that are left to be played. Looking at the top card, let's see, this is number 81. I go to my chart over here, 81 falls in this range. Yep, 1.5 with 4.5 left to be played. Therefore, I did it correctly. All right. So you can kind of see how this drill works. You can take off as many as you want. You can be creative with it, have someone take it off for you, have them look at the charts, and then you can get multiple done. Really kind of quick fire with someone helping you out. But it's a really good way to train your eye. So with just a glance at the discard tray in the casino, you know exactly how many cards have been played and how many are left to be played. And that's what you'll divide your running count by to get an accurate true count. Hey guys, if you like this drill, I think you'll also like the other drills that you see on the screen here in this video. And until next time, remember, this is A1 Blackjack.